All right. Greetings, fellow grade 11s. It is your favorite tutor and teacher, Mr. Hlajwayo. Welcome to Back to Basics. Look, what we are doing now, we are doing our equations and also inequalities, right? So please ensure that you have at least watched some of the previous videos, especially when it comes to the introduction of some of the main concept in here, right? Because here we are also going to be looking at different simultaneous equations. We are going to be looking at inequalities. We are going to be looking at, portions of natures of root, right? So this particular question was extracted from a question paper, which was, I think this was Feb, right? This was June rather. This was June paper one from the KZN province, right? So this is June. This is KZN, and then the year from this was 2024. Out again. Now, so let's look at the inequalities and also equations questions and see in terms of what is it that we can really do from this particular question. Are we fine? Now, so let's look at number one. In number one, they are saying now, if let's say you are given that you're having x into bracket 1 subtract 2x is equals to 0. Now, what is it then that you are going to do now from here? So firstly, the most important thing that you are going to do, remember this is your quadratic equation, right? So now in solving this, what is the first thing that you're going to do now? So which means this is same as x is equals to 0 and or we are going to also have 1 subtract 2x, which is going to be also equals to 0, right? And now after that, what is this going to be? Now remember we are solving for x, right? So this is same as 1 is equals to 2x. Are we together? So I just now took this one and transposed it this side, right? So then now from here, can you see that I'm going to divide by 2? I'm going to divide by 2, which means my value of my x here, it's going to be same as 1 over 2. Are you together, right? So firstly, that is going to be the first thing that you're going to have in here. Now, I want us to look at our 2.2, right? So now in 2.2, this particular question, you are given 2, this is x squared, subtract 5x plus 3 is equals to 0, right? So now what is it that you're going to do now from here? Remember, this is your quadratic equation, right? Now, so what is it then that you are going to do now from here? Which means you are going to start by, obviously, you are going to open up the two brackets, right? So, and then when you're opening up the two bracket, then you are going to start by looking at the factors of 2, right? So, which means this is going to be 2 and x, and then this is going to be x, right? And then now we are going to come back and look at the factors of 3, right? But now we want the combination whereby when we multiply, we still get the 3, but when we add, we are going to get negative 5, right? So now I want you to look at this, right? Can you see that if I can write this here, right? If I can write this as my negative 3 here, right? As my negative 3 here and also my negative 1. What is it that I'm going to get here, right? So let me just try and prove and see whether is this going to be still fine, right? Look, if I'm saying 2 multiplied by what? If I'm saying 2 multiplied by 1, negative 1, can you see that I'm getting negative 2x, right? And if I'm saying negative 3x multiplied by negative 3 multiplied by x, can you see that I'm getting my negative 3x, right? So which means this does indeed give me my negative 5x, right? And when I multiply again the negative 3 and the negative 1, I still get my 3, right? So which means these are the correct factors that I am going to use now in here. Are we fine, right? So now after that, what else then now I'm going to do? Now I am going to say this is same as 2x subtract 3 is equals to 0 and x subtract 1 is equals to 0. Then now from here, can you see that this is same as 2x is equals to 3, which means our x is going to be same as 3 over 2, which means I'm dividing both sides by 2, right? And then our x this side is going to be just same as positive 1, right? Remember, when a number jumps an equal sign, it changes the sign. Are we together, right? So basically now that's what you are going to have in 1.1.3 or rather point 2, right? Now let's look at 1.1.3. Now, what is it then that we are having in here in terms of us solving here? Let's start. Now, can you see that now in 1.3 you are having, right? In 1.3, you are having this is x into, right? So this is same as x into, this is going to be same as 3x subtract 5 is equals to 7, right? And now what is it that I can do now from here? Now I am going to say, look, I can not solve this before I write this in standard form. And the standard form here, remember our standard form is same as ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0, right? So which means now from here, I need to start by firstly multiplying back and then writing everything in standard form, right? So which means now this is going to be same as what? This is going to be same as 3 multiplied by x. This is going to be same as 3x squared and 3 multiplied by negative, or rather x multiplied by negative 5. This is going to be negative 5x. And then when I transpose the 7 this side, it's going to be negative 7 is equals to 0, right? But now, I want you to note something here. Can you see that from here, right? They are saying here, they want us to correct to 2 decimal places, right? Now, whenever you see something like this, right? So this is just a guide that we need to use our what? Our quadratic formula here, right? This particular equation, it is not factorizable, right? So which means here we need to use our quadratic formula, right? And whenever you see where they say correct to 1 or 2 decimal place, then you need to know that that particular equation, it is not factorizable. And the only way that you can be in a position to factorize it, it is when you are using our quadratic formula. Are you together, right? So which means now we are going to write our quadratic formula. Remember our quadratic formula, it is given by x is equals to, this is same as negative b, right? Plus minus, this is going to be same as b squared, subtract 4ac, and then everything else that is in here, it's going to be divided by what? It is going to be divided by 2 altogether, right? And now what is it then that you are going to do now from here? Then you are going to say, what is my value of my b, right? So my x is going to be same as what? Remember we said b, it's the one that is in here, right? So which means now my b is going to be negative. Can you see that the b that I have here? Remember the b is the a, it's 3, this is a. The negative 5 is b and the negative 7 is c, right? So which means now from here, this is going to be negative into negative 5 plus minus. Can you see that this is also going to be same as what? What is my b squared here? This is same as negative 5 squared, subtract 4. And then what is my a here? This is this is what? This is 3. And then what is my c? This is going to be my negative 7. And then everything else here, it's going to be divided by what? It's going to be divided by 2 into what? Into 3, right? And then now we are just going to plug everything here in our equation, right? So the only thing that you need to ensure that firstly, you start by writing the positive here, you get the answer, and then you plug in the negative, right? So when we plug this into our quadratic formula, right? So the first answer that you are getting here, this is same as 0, 0, or 0,91 rather, right? So our first value of our x is same as negative 0,91, or our second value of our x that you are getting here, when you plug a negative here, it's same as what? This is same as 2,57. Okay, right? Now, so let's look at 1.1.4, right? In 1.1.4, you are given that you are having, this is 1 subtract x into, this is going to be x plus 3, which is going to be lesser or equals to what? Equals to negative 5, right? Now, I want you to look at this very carefully, right? Now, I always, emphasize that I think the best thing that you need to do now from here, we need to ensure that this particular equation, it's written in quadratic form, right? So, which means now from here, you're going to start by multiplying back everything that we have in here, right? And then what is it that you are having in here? Let's see. So now we are going to start by saying 1 multiplied by x. This is going to give us x. And then when you say 1 multiplied by 3, this is going to be same as positive 3. And then when you say negative x multiplied by x, this is going to be same as negative x squared. And negative x multiplied by this is going to be negative 3x. And then I'm going to transpose this here, which is going to be plus 5 which is still going to be lesser or equals to 0, right? And then after here, what else then I'm going to do now from here? I am going to now solve. And how am I going to solve here? Right? I want to write this in a quadratic form, which means I'm going to start with the one with the highest exponent, right? So this is going to be negative x squared. And then now from here, I'm having negative 3x plus x, which is, this is going to give us what? Negative 2x, right? And then now when I have 3 and also my 5, can you see that this is going to give me my positive 8, which is going to be lesser or equals to 0. Are we together? And now I always emphasize that I think the most important thing here is that ensure that the value of your A it is greater, your A is greater than 0, so that you can be in a position to know in terms of how, especially when you need to write your what, when you need to write in terms of the graphical representation of this particular inequality, right? So, which means now I can multiply this entire equation by negative, right? So, but I want you to take note that whenever you multiply by negative, the inequality sign changes, right? Remember, the inequality sign changes when you multiply by a negative or when you divide altogether by a negative, which means here if I multiply by a negative here, this is going to be same as x squared. Now negative and negative will give me positive, which means this is going to be plus 2x, and then this is going to minus 8. Now can you see that this is going to be greater and equals to 0, right? And now that we are here, right, we are then going to start by factorizing this, right? Now, obviously, when you factorize here, we are going to open up our two brackets here and say this is going to be greater or equals to 0, right? Now, this is going to be x, and then this is going to be x, right? After that, then we are going to come back to 8, and we are saying under 8, we are looking for factors that can give us the middle term, right? Which is negative 2. Now, can you see that 2 and 4, if 4 is negative and if 2 is positive, can you see that we can get our negative 2x, right? Out together. And now, which means what is it then that I'm going to do now from here? Which means this is going to be same as what? I am going to use my 2 and also my 4, right? And then where there is 4, I am going to write this as a negative. And when where there is 2, I'm going to write this as a positive. Or rather, I'm going to write this sign vice versa, right? Now this is going to be a positive 4, and then this is going to what? This is going to be negative. This must be positive, and then this must be negative, right? So, and now from here, now what else then now I am going to have here, right? So which means now I am going to have my values of x, right? So I am going to just use the abbreviation of CV, which are going to be my critical values, right? So which means my values for x is equals to 2, or its x is equals to negative 4, right? Now, I want you to take note that this is not the solution that we are looking for, right? This is just to say, now, my solution of x is given by 2 and also negative 4. However, I am still, again, need to write this in terms of my inequalities, right? So now, I want you to look at this, right? The easier way of understanding is this now. If, let's say now, firstly, remember this was given in terms of ax squared plus bx, right? Plus bx plus c, which is greater or equals to 0, right? Now, I am saying to you, if you're having your value of your a, which is greater than 0, right? Now, your number line, right? Your values here, they are always going to be looking at these sides, right? Okay. Now remember here it's going to be shaded, and the shaded is going to represent what? It is going to represent that this what this means, it is an inclusion sign, and then this is going to be where you're having your x1, the first value of x, and here this is where you're going to have what? The second value of x, right? But to understand this even more, right? Now remember, this is more like our quadratic what? This is more like our quadratic function, right? So which means now, when your value of your a is greater than 0, how is our function going to be looking like, right? Can you see that our function is going to be looking what? Where the it's going to what? It's going to be concave up, right? It's going to be a smiling face graph, which means now, when we are saying we are looking where everything else is greater or equal to 0, right? When you are looking at greater or equal to 0, we are now looking at this upper part of the quadrant, right? out again, which means now, what does this mean? Which means now, can you see that the function here exists starting from here, moving this way, and starting from here, moving this way, out again, right? So which means now, if I had to draw my number line here, how is this going to look like, right? Now, this is going to be where I am having my -4 firstly, and then this is going to be where I am having my 2, right? So, which means now, when I'm drawing my graph, this is going to be just looking simply like this altogether, right? So, which means this, when we are saying this is where it's greater than what? When it's greater than your when this is greater than what? When this is greater than 0 or greater or equals to, which means now this is going to be where, can you see this is going to be where x, it is lesser or equals to -4, because starting from -4 moving this way, can you see that this particular function, it is indeed greater than 0, right? Out again, it is greater than 0 here in the upper part of the graph, right? Because these portion that I'm looking for is just these portions, right? It's these blue portions, as you can see that this is continuing to negative infinity, and this is starting from 2 and continuing to positive infinity, which means now from here this is going to be also where x is greater or equals to what, or equals to my 2. Are we together, right? So which means now these are going to be the two values of my x which I am going to be looking at. Are we fine, right? So basically this is how we go about whenever we are proving this, right? Which means this is just simply moving what? This is simply moving this way, and this is simply also moving which way? This is simply also moving this way. All right, again. Now, let's continue there. Now, let's continue to our 1.1.5 and see in terms of what is it then that we can do now from here, right? I know I've exhausted most of my time when it comes to the inequalities, right? But it is for a good cause. Look, here we're having x squared plus 7. This is divided by what, right? Now, I want you to look at what is it that you are having in my denominator, right? Can you see that this is x squared minus 2x minus 3, right? And surely this, it is a trinomial that can be factorized, right? And how can we then go about whenever we want to factorize this particular trinomial? We are going to say this, right? So obviously we are going to open up our two brackets. This is x and then this is x, right? But because our middle term here, it's -2. And then our factors of 3, it's same as 1 and 3, which means we are going to start now from here and say we are going to use 1 and 3 because 1 and 3 can give us -2, right? Because now if you're having -3 here and then you are having +1 here, right? Can you see that these, when you add or subtract them, they can give us -2x, right? And now, which means now from here, this is going to be that plus this is going to be same as 2 over, now can you see that this you are having your x plus 1, right? And this is going to be equals to -1 over, this is same as x minus 3. Okay. And now that we are here, what is it that we need to do? Now we are going to start by saying now we are looking for our LCD because this is our fraction, right? We are going to look at our LCD, right? So we want to check which bracket appears in all of these brackets out again so that it's going to be commonalized, right? So which means now, can you see that here you are having x plus 1, right? Now this is x plus 1, but here we don't have x plus 1, right? So which means we need to multiply this side by x plus 1 so that we can have the x plus 1, right? Now here we are also going to have x minus 3 as also our LCD. Out here. And now after this, what is it then that you're going to do? Now we are going to multiply by our LCD here, right? So which means now we are going to ensure that all our denominators are the same, right? And now how can we ensure that all the denominators are the same, right? We are going to multiply the brackets without the denominator, right? Remember, we need to have x plus 1 in the denominator and also x minus 3, right? So which means we are going to now I want you to understand that all of this, I'm just going to write this, all of this under one roof. We are saying we are looking for an LCD of x plus 1 and x minus what and x minus 3. Now, can you see that in the first bracket, all of these things that you are looking for in the denominators, they are there, right? So which means we are not going to multiply with anything here. We are going to leave the x squared plus 7 as it is. Right now, then we are going to move to plus, right? Now, what is it then that you are going to have here? So can you see that now I'm having x plus 1 and x plus 1 as my denominator, right? So for me to have the denominator of x plus 1 and also x minus 3, I need to multiply the 2 by what? By x minus 3. Are you together, right? Remember, I multiply the numerator and the denominator. However, my denominator will already, we know that it's going to be x minus what? It's going to be x plus 1 and also x minus 3. Now, I am going to transpose this one this side, right? Which is going to be positive, right? Now, which means this is going to be positive 1. And what is it that I need to multiply with here? I already have x minus 3 and x minus 3, which means I only need to multiply by x plus what? X plus 1 here. And everything else here now, it's going to be same as what? It's going to be same as 0. All together. And now from here, now that the denominators is the same, right? Now we can lose then our denominator. Are we fine, right? So now we are going to lose our denominator. And how are we then going to manage this, right? So let's start by now adding everything that is in the numerator. Remember now, because this is an equation, right? If everything else is going to have the same denominator, we can apply the law of losing the denominator and also only just remaining with our what? With our numerator, because we can just simply multiply by x plus 1 and also x minus 3 everywhere, right? And then the x minus the x plus 1 and also the x minus what? Minus 3. When I multiply it everywhere, can you see that the x plus 1 is going to cancel this one? The x minus 3 is going to cancel this one, right? So that's why here, this is only left with x squared plus 7. This is going to be then now plus, this is going to be 2x, right? Minus 6. Can you see that, right? This is going to be plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then now from here, I am going to start collecting my like terms, right? And when I collect my like terms, what is that I'm going to have? This is x squared. Now here you're having 2x and plus x here. Can you see that this is going to be plus 3x, right? And now from here, this is going to be now a negative 6. This is 7 minus 6. This is plus 1, right? What is it then that I'm going to have here, right? Can you see that now this was plus 1, which means now 7 plus 1, it's 8. And then 8 subtract 6, this gives me my positive 2, which is equal to 0. Now I can factorize this. When I factorize this, I'm just only going to open up my two brackets. This is x, this is 1 and rather 2, right? Are we together? Or 2 and 1. Are we fine? Then which means this is going to be same as positive here and positive here, because positive 2 and positive 1, they do give us our positive 3 in our, right? Sorry. In our what? They do give us our positive 3 in our second term here, right? So which means now here, this is same as what? This is x plus 2 is equal to 0. Or this is x plus 1, which is equal to 0. Then this is same as x is equal to negative 2. Or x is equal to what? Negative 1. Are you together, right? So now let me just fix this one. Yes. All right. Then this is going to be that now. Are we fine? So I am hoping that we get this particular question now. I want us to swiftly move to our 1.2. Now, looking at 1.2, what is it then that you're given? You are given that you're having x subtract, now this is x subtract 3 is equals to 2 into our root x, right? Or 2 multiplied by root x. Now, what is the best thing that you are going to do now from here? The first question here, it wants us to solve for x, right? And now, remember what we said. Can you see that this, we are having what? This is same as x minus 3. Is equals to, this is same as what? This is same as 2 root x. And now, as per the tradition, now remember, if we want to get rid of the root here, what is the best thing that you're going to do now from here? Which means we need to square both sides first, right? So which means we are going to say everything else here squared and everything here also squared. Are we fine? And how is this going to assist us now? I want you to look at this carefully, right? So now this is going to be same as x minus 3 and x minus 3, right? Because the 2 here, it means these are two brackets of the same thing, right? But now the 2, when you say 2 squared, what is 2 squared? 2 squared is same as 4. And then now square root of x, then you are squaring everything. When you are saying root of x squared, right? This is same as what? This is same as my x, which means this is going to be same as multiplied by x, right? Can you see that here we are having multiplied by 4x now? And now from here, this is same as x multiplied by x. What is this going to be? Now, can you see that this is going to be x squared, and x multiplied by 3, this is going to be negative 3x, and negative 3 multiplied by this is going to be negative 3x again, right? This is negative 3x, then negative and negative, this is going to be positive 9 minus 4x is equals to 0. And now from here, we are going to collect our like terms, right? Now, when you're collecting the like term, can you see that this is going to be same as x squared? Now, negative 3 and negative 3, this is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 4, this gives us negative 10, right? Is it negative 10x? Yes, this gives us negative 10x plus 9 is equals to what? This is equals to 0, right? And then this can be factorized, right? This is same as my x, right? This is equals to 0. This is same as my x and my x. Here you're having 1 and also 9. And which means now from here to get the negative 10, can you see that negative 9 and minus 1 does give us the negative 10, plus the negative and negative does give us the positive 9. Okay, so which means then now our values of x here, it's going to be same as x is equals to 1, or x is going to be equals to what? It's going to be equals to 9. However, there's one thing that I want us to do here, right? Now, we cannot just accept these solutions of ours, right? So we need to check now in terms of, because we had the radical, our radical root here, right? Now we need to check in terms of between the two solutions, which one is going to be acceptable, right? So which means now, how do you determine the one that is acceptable? Which means we are saying the one that is going to give us our left-hand side to be equals to our right-hand side, right? And how do you do that? Now, for an example, remember the equation was what? It was x subtract 3. This was x subtract 3 is equals to 2 root what? This is 2 root x. Now, look, which means now we are going to start by substituting one of the term here, right? So which means if I substitute my 1 here, can you see that this is going to be same as 1 subtract 3, which must be equals to 2 into this is 1. Are we fine, right? And then now what is going to be this one? Can you see that this is going to be 1 subtract 3? This is negative 2. And then now root of 1, it's same as 1. And now our 2 multiplied by 1 gives us a positive 2, right? So which means now in these two solutions, the solution of x is equals 1 is not acceptable as a solution, right? Which means this particular problem only have one solution, which is what? X is not equals to 1. Are we fine?